This is a little series on the use of the Panasonic HDC TM90 video camera belonging to the Okanagan Historical Society Salmon Arm branch. And the first thing that you should do is make sure that it is fully charged before you use it. And in order to do that, there's a little port here that you remove this cover and then attach the charging cable, and when it's charging there is a red light that will flash. When it's fully charged it will stop flashing. After charging the camera, it's necessary to become familiar with some of the parts and functions of the camera. Over on this side we have the mode switch. In the forward position it is in the single picture camera mode. In the center position where it is now, it is in the video mode, and in the rear position it is in the playback mode. On the top of the camera we have a multifunction switch that simply is used for either panning or zooming, depending on if you put it to the right or to the left. In the right position it zooms forward, in the left position it zooms away, so giving it either a telephoto or a wide angle effect. The button behind it is for taking single pictures in the camera mode. On the rear of the camera you can see the battery in place, and the button with the red mark on it is the start-stop button for video recording. At the front of the camera you can see there is a lens cover that automatically covers the lens to protect it when the camera is turned off. At the top is a light to provide additional lighting when shooting in low light conditions, and at the bottom there's the speaker, microphone, and a sensor for the focus. When you open the viewing screen on the side, it automatically removes the lens cover, and when you close it again and turns it off, it will close to protect the lens. As you saw when opening the side viewing screen, it automatically turns the camera on, and as you can see the battery needs charging. There's also a switch should you want to turn the camera off or on when the screen is already open. That will provide the ability to do that. On the inside panel there are additional buttons, connectors, and switches. Most of those are for advanced functions, the buttons and switches, so you don't need to be concerned about them, but the information is in the manual. There is a USB connector for connecting the camera to the computer with the supplied cable, an HDMI connector for connecting to a large screen TV, and an AV connector that's used for connecting to video recording equipment. Most of the functions for controlling the camera are done with the touch screen. With the screen open, you simply press the option arrows at the bottom, select the menu. This is the point where you can change settings. For the most part you don't need to, other than changing which media memory you are recording to. The media select button allows you to select either the SD card or the built-in memory, and that will allow for approximately 4 hours of video recording, 2 hours on each one. You select the memory you want to use, press enter, and it will record to that media. With the correct media selected, we're now ready to actually do a video recording, and it's this mode select switch needs to be in the video center mode, and then simply press the button with the red mark on it and it will begin recording. And as you can see, I'm using the zoom function to zoom in and out. When you've finished recording the sequence that you want, press the button again. That will pause it, and then you can switch this switch into the playback mode. Your video will come up on the screen. Simply press on the video and you will be able to view what you've recorded. You can fast forward, pause, and rewind also at that time. Each time that you do a recording session, it will be separated and stored as a individual segment. As you can see on this, there are 3 segments already recorded. After finishing the review of your video, you can then move the switch to the record position, which is in the center, and continue with your interview or your recording. It is always best to use the tripod for actually holding the camera in order to do the recording, and the camera can be mounted on the top here with the screw adapter, and panning, which you probably won't do in an interview setting. The adjustment can be made laterally, up, down, and there is a separate adjustment to level the camera as well. Each one of these can be locked in position when the camera is ready to be used. Mounting the camera, you can see there is a screw adapter and a pin. The pin goes into a hole on the front of the camera, and the screw adapter screws in here. So you just want to put that on top. There's a thumb screw on the bottom that will allow you to tighten the screw to make sure that the camera is locked in place. With the camera mounted in place, you can then level it using the sight level here and lock it in place by turning the handle. Having it mounted and leaving the not touching the tripod will make the most steady videoing experience, so that's the best way to do it. In selecting the position for making your video interview, it's important to consider making the interviewee as comfortable as possible. It's a good idea to have a bit of a conversation before beginning the interview in order to make them feel relaxed. But also the location for making the video is also important. As you can see, we're now videoing in front of an open window or a set of windows that provide backlight, and as a result you won't be able to see the subject very well. With the subject lighted properly with gentle, not too harsh lighting, that's the best way to have the person in the interview situation. And it is important as well to consider the distance from the interviewee to the camera. If you are too close, you will see only the head and shoulders of the individual. A mid-distance is best, because that way you will be able to pick up the audio with the built-in microphone in the camera, but as well get a sense that you're not doing a in-your-face type of interview. As before, it should be a comfortable situation for the recording. For a long interview, it's a good idea to leave the power cord connected to the camera in order to provide long-term power source. If your interview goes more than about half an hour, the battery is good for approximately an hour and a half. but it's always best to have a good power source if it is available to you, so just leave the camera plugged in.